Martinez stepped off the transport shuttle and stared at the massive structure floating in space. Zenith Prime Military Academy stretched across 3 connected stations, each one larger than any building he had ever seen on Earth. Ships moved between the docking bays like insects around a hive. Everywhere he looked, he saw aliens. A tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms walked past, barely glancing at him. Another being that looked like a floating jellyfish drifted through the corridor, adjusted his bag on his shoulder, and followed the signs toward cadet registration. He had studied the alien alphabets for months, but seeing them in person felt different. Wait up. He turned and saw Lisa Parker jogging toward him. She was the only other human on his shuttle. They had met briefly during the trip from Earth, but there had been little time to talk. The transport had been full of alien cadets, all heading to the same place. "This place is incredible," Lisa said, falling into step beside him. "I counted 17 different species just on our shuttle." 18 said. "There was in the back, they're small, easy to miss." Lisa grinned. "Showing off already, we haven't even started classes." They found the registration hall without trouble. Inside, hundreds of cadets moved through processing stations. Noticed how the aliens moved around each other with practiced ease. They had grown up in a galaxy full of different species. For them, this was normal. For humans, it was brand new. Earth had only made first contact with the Galactic Council 15 years ago. The discovery had changed everything. Humanity learned they were not alone in the universe. They learned they were actually quite late to the party. Thousands of species had been traveling the stars while humans were still figuring out basic space flight. The Council had been cautious at first. Earth was classified as in their databases. High gravity, dangerous weather, predators everywhere. Most Council species came from gentler planets. They looked at Earth the way humans might look at a volcano, beautiful but deadly. But the Council believed in giving chances. They opened their academies to human applicants. Had been one of only 3 accepted this cycle out of thousands who applied. Next, stepped forward to the registration desk. The official was the same 4-armed species he had seen earlier. She processed his documents quickly, barely looking at him. "Dorm assignment, Deck 7, Room 214. Classes begin tomorrow at 600 station time. Do not be late. Next." The dorm room was small but functional, had one side and his roommate had the other. When he arrived, the other bed was already occupied by someone sleeping. Could only see a large shape under the blanket. He quietly unpacked his things and tried not to make noise. The next morning woke to an alarm blaring through the room. His roommate threw off the blanket and sat up. Found himself staring at a species built like a boulder with legs. The alien was 7 feet tall and covered in gray, rock-like skin. "You're the human," they said. His voice sounded like gravel in a blender. "Martinez," said, offering his hand. The looked at the hand for a moment, then gripped it. Felt like his fingers were being crushed in a vice. He kept his expression neutral and squeezed back. The eyes widened slightly. The alien said, releasing his grip, "You're stronger than you look." "Thanks, I think." They dressed in their cadet uniforms and headed to the first assembly. The main training hall was enormous. At least 500 cadets filled the space, representing dozens of species. Spotted Lisa across the room and gave her a small wave. She was standing next to another human, a guy who must have been on a different transport. A door at the far end opened, and silence fell instantly. Instructor Al entered the hall and understood why everyone went quiet. He was old, very old. His 4 arms moved with precise control, and his eyes swept across the cadets like he was reading each one's soul. He had trained warriors for 2 centuries according to the Academy files. "You are cadets now," Al said. His voice carried across the hall without shouting. "Some of you will become officers, some will wash out in the first month, most of you will fall somewhere in between. This academy exists for one purpose, to forge the defenders of the Galactic Council. We do not care what planet you come from. We do not care what species you are. We care only about your ability to protect those who cannot protect themselves." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You will be tested. Your strength, your intelligence, your courage, your speed, your will, every weakness will be exposed. Every strength will be pushed to its limit. By the time you leave this academy, you will know exactly what you are capable of." Felt a chill run down his spine, not from fear, from anticipation. The instructor's eyes passed over the human cadets. Thought he saw something there, not contempt exactly, but doubt. The same doubt he had seen in other aliens since arriving. Humans were new, unproven, from a world that scared most species just by its description. Your first evaluation begins in 3 days, Al continued. Comprehensive reflex and reaction testing. Combat training assignments will be based on your performance. Study the manual. Prepare yourselves. Dismissed. The hall erupted into conversation as cadets filed out, heard fragments in different languages and through translation devices. The human cadets think they'll last. Earth doesn't mean the humans are dangerous. Most are just tough survivors, not fighters. I heard their reaction times are slow, something about their neural structure. Said nothing. He had heard it all before during the application process. Humans were tough, sure. They could survive in harsh conditions. But compared to species that had evolved on high-speed predator worlds or had natural telepathic reflexes, humans seemed ordinary. Lisa found him in the corridor outside. Did you hear what they're saying? Hard to miss. Doesn't it bother you? Shrugged, actions speak louder than words. We'll show them what we can do. The next 3 days passed in a blur. Classes covered everything from galactic law to weapons systems to hand-to-hand combat basics. Absorbed it all, taking notes and studying late into the night. Turned out to be a decent roommate. He was gruff but fair, and he didn't treat any differently than he would any other cadet. On the 3rd morning, entered the testing facility with the other cadets. The reflex chamber dominated the center of the room. It looked like a large sphere made of transparent material with a single door. Inside, he could see holographic projectors and sensor arrays. Instructor Al stood beside a control console. Reaction time testing will measure your neural response to combat stimuli. You will face simulated threats. The machine will track how quickly you perceive and respond. Average galactic military personnel score between 180 and 220 milliseconds. Elite special forces may score as low as 150 milliseconds. He gestured to the chamber. Who wants to go first? Stepped forward immediately. I will. They entered the chamber and the test began. Holographic attackers appeared from multiple angles. Obstacles dropped from above. Laser grids flashed into existence, moved with surprising speed for someone his size, dodging and responding to each threat. When he emerged, the display showed his score, 165 milliseconds. Impressed murmurs rippled through the watching cadets. Other aliens took their turns. A named Myra scored 171 milliseconds. Various species performed, most falling between 175 and 195. All respectable scores according to the instructor's standards. Then it was turn. He stepped into the chamber while feeling dozens of eyes on his back. He heard whispers, saw knowing looks. They expected him to be slow, average at best. The door sealed behind him. Holographic attackers materialized around in a circle. They moved fast, each one lunging toward him with simulated weapons. Most cadets would process the threat, decide on a response, then act. The machine measured that delay. Didn't have a delay. His body moved before his conscious mind caught up. Left hand came up to block a strike from his 3 o'clock position. Right leg swept out to dodge a low attack from behind. He twisted, and his whole body became a fluid line of motion. Each threat appeared and disappeared as he responded with exact precision. Outside the chamber, the watching cadets leaned forward. He's fast, someone whispered. The test increased in difficulty. More attackers, faster timing. Obstacles began falling from above while the floor beneath him shifted. Laser grids formed deadly patterns that would eliminate a cadet on contact in a real combat scenario. His hands became a blur. He slipped between laser beams with inches to spare. When a holographic blade came at his face, his head snapped to the side so fast several aliens flinched watching it. His feet never stopped moving. He flowed from one position to the next like water finding a path. Instructor Al's 4 arms tensed at the control console, his eyes fixed on the readout display. The numbers climbing on the screen shouldn't be possible, not from a human, not from most species. Inside the chamber felt the familiar sensation he had known since childhood. Time didn't actually slow down, he knew that, but his perception changed during moments of intense action. Everything became clear, simple. His body knew what to do before threats fully formed. Another wave of attacks came. response was immediate and precise. A holographic spear thrust toward his chest. His hand snapped out and caught it, twisted, used the momentum to spin away from two more attacks coming from different angles. His movements looked almost violent in their intensity, but every motion served a purpose. No wasted energy, no hesitation. The machine's sensors tracked everything. Neural response time, physical reaction speed, decision-making under pressure, combat awareness. All of it fed into the processors that had tested thousands of cadets from hundreds of species. Those processors began sending warning signals. A soft alarm beeped at the control console. Al's eyes widened. The neural response circuits were showing readings that shouldn't be possible. 47 milliseconds. The machine was rated for measurements down to 100 milliseconds. Anything beyond that required specialized equipment. The display flickered. "Stop the test," Al said sharply. Before the command could register, a sharp crack echoed through the testing facility. Smoke began rising from the control console. Sparks shot from the neural response circuits. The holographic attackers inside the chamber froze mid-motion, then disappeared. Straightened up, slightly out of breath but otherwise fine. He looked around at the now empty chamber, then at the door. It slid open with a mechanical whine. He stepped out into dead silence. Every eye in the facility stared at him. Alien faces showed expressions ranging from shock to disbelief. His mouth hung open. Myra's telepathic tendrils had gone completely still. Walked to where Lisa stood and noticed the smoke rising from the control console. He looked at Instructor Al, who was staring at the destroyed equipment like it had personally betrayed him. "So," said, brushing some dust off his uniform, a slight smile crossed his face. "Try again." The silence stretched for another heartbeat, then chaos erupted. "Impossible. The machine malfunctioned. No one is that fast." Technicians rushed to the console, pulling panels open and checking circuits. Instructor Al held up one hand, and the noise died down. His forearms crossed over his chest as he studied with new intensity. "The neural response circuits are destroyed," one technician reported. "Complete overload. The last recorded measurement before system failure was 47 milliseconds." More shocked murmurs rippled through the crowd. "That's impossible," said, stepping forward. "The fastest recorded reaction time in Academy history is 158 milliseconds, held by a Special Forces operative. No one scores below 100. The equipment must have failed." Shrugged, "Maybe. Or maybe your equipment isn't built for humans." "Arrogant," a voice called from the crowd. Didn't see who spoke, but he heard the anger in it. "Humans thinking they're special. You probably sabotaged it somehow." "That's ridiculous," Lisa said sharply. "He just took the same test as everyone else." "Then he'll have no problem taking it again," said. His rocky features were set in a firm expression. "With proper equipment, military-grade testing gear that can handle any species in the galaxy." Instructor Al considered this. His eyes moved from to the destroyed console, then to the other cadets. Finally, he nodded. "We will conduct a retest. I will request advanced testing equipment from the Military Special Forces Division. It will take 2 days to arrive." He pointed at Cadet Martinez. "You will be present for retesting at 800 station time 2 days from now. Until then, you are confined to standard training activities. No discussion of today's test with anyone outside this facility. Understood?" "Yes, sir," said. The assembly was dismissed, but felt the weight of every stare as he left. Whispers followed him down the corridor. Some cadets moved out of his way, others looked at him with suspicion. Lisa caught up to him outside the facility. "Are you okay?" "Fine, you." "I'm not the one who just became the center of attention for the entire academy." She lowered her voice. "What happened in there? I've never seen anyone move like that." "I just took the test." "That wasn't just taking a test. That was," she struggled for words, "that was something else." Didn't answer right away. They walked in silence for a moment, passing groups of alien cadets who stopped their conversations to watch them go by. "You remember what I told you on the transport?" finally said. "About my family. Your dad was a coach. Your mom was a runner. A boxing coach and an ultra-marathon runner. They had me in training programs since I was 6. Reaction drills, speed work, coordination exercises. They said if I was going to do something, I should do it right." Lisa processed this, and that's enough to break military testing equipment. Guess we'll find out in 2 days. The next 2 days felt strange. Attended classes like normal, but nothing was normal. Other cadets stared at him. Some approached with questions he couldn't answer. Others kept their distance like he was dangerous. Was different, the big didn't avoid, but he watched him constantly, studying, evaluating. On the second night, he finally spoke up while they were in their dorm room. "I've been thinking about the test," said. "Everyone has. Are naturally fast, are has predators that move like lightning. We evolved to react quickly or die. My score of 165 milliseconds is average for my species." He paused. "What's average for humans?" Set down the data pad he had been reading. "I don't know. Earth hasn't been doing galactic standard testing long enough for good data." "But you have an idea." "Maybe." His rocky features shifted into something that might have been a smile. "You're not going to tell me. Would you tell me all your species' secrets after knowing me for less than a week?" "Fair point." The lay back on his bed. "I hope you're really that fast. I hope you break the new machine too. These other species have been acting superior for too long. It would be good for them to be surprised." Raised an eyebrow. "I thought you were suspicious of me." I am, but I also respect strength, and I'm curious." Closed his eyes. "Plus, you haven't crushed my hand back when we met. Most humans wouldn't have the strength. That tells me there's more to your species than the soft appearance suggests." On the morning of the retest, arrived at the facility to find it crowded. Word had spread throughout the academy. Cadets from all years had shown up to watch. The gallery above the testing floor was packed with alien faces. The new equipment dominated the center of the room. It looked meaner than the previous machine. Sleeker. Military grade for testing elite special forces across the galaxy, built to measure reaction times down to 10 milliseconds if needed. Commander Frank was present, the Academy's director. He was human, one of the first Earth officers to join the galactic military. His presence made the situation feel more serious. Instructor Al stood beside the new equipment. "Cadet Martinez, you understand what's at stake here. If your previous result was genuine, you will prove it now. If it was equipment failure or sabotage, that will also become clear. Are you ready?" Looked at the machine, at the crowd, at Lisa, who gave him an encouraging nod, at who watched with intense interest. "I'm ready." The holographic combat scenario was brutal. Multiple attackers materialized simultaneously from every direction. These weren't simple threats. They moved with the tactical awareness of trained soldiers. They coordinated. They adapted. Moved faster. His body became a weapon in motion. When 3 attackers came from the left, his response was instant. Duck under the first strike, pivot, use the momentum to avoid the second, snap back up to counter the third. No pause between actions, just continuous flowing movement. The military-grade sensors tracked everything in microscopic detail. Neural pathways firing, muscles contracting, eyes tracking targets. All of it fed into processors designed to measure the galaxy's elite warriors. Outside the chamber, Commander watched the readout with growing disbelief. The numbers climbing on his display made no sense. This wasn't possible, not from any species he had trained, not from anyone. Inside felt the familiar clarity descend over him. The world became simple. Threat appears, body responds. His conscious mind was almost a passenger, watching his trained reflexes take over. This was what 10,000 hours of practice had built. Muscle memory so deep it was practically instinct. A holographic blade swung at his head. His hand came up and caught the wrist behind it. Twist, redirect, use the attacker's momentum against them. His father had drilled these movements into him since childhood. Box the combinations, react before thinking. Let the body remember what the mind might forget under pressure. More attackers flooded in. The scenario escalated beyond normal cadet testing. This was special forces level, combat situations that required split-second decisions with lives on the line. His response never slowed. If anything, he moved faster as the pressure increased. In the gallery above, alien cadets pressed against the windows. Some had come skeptical, expecting to see proof of equipment failure. Now they watched in stunned silence as the human moved through the combat scenario like a predator among prey. "Look at his eyes," someone whispered. "He's tracking 4 targets at once." "That shouldn't be possible. Humans don't have enhanced visual processing." "Then explain what we're seeing." stood at the front of the gallery. His rocky hands gripped the railing hard enough to make it creak. He had trained his entire life for combat. He was naturally fast for his species, but watching move made him feel slow. The test continued. Falling obstacles combined with attackers. Environmental hazards added to the chaos. Laser grids formed deadly patterns, navigated it all with precision that seemed almost supernatural. His feet found safe ground without looking down. His hands blocked strikes without seeing them coming. He moved like he could predict the future. He couldn't, of course. He just recognized patterns faster than most beings could process them, saw the wind up before the punch, noticed the weight shift before the kick, read body language like other people read books. All skills drilled into him through years of training in one of Earth's most demanding combat sports. The machine hummed louder, more sensors activated. The military equipment was working hard to track movements. But unlike the previous machine, this one was built to handle extreme performance. It held steady, recording every millisecond. Then the scenario ended. The holographic threats disappeared. The chamber went still, stood in the center, breathing hard but controlled. Sweat ran down his face. His muscles burned from the exertion, but he was fine, ready to go again if needed. The door opened. Stepped out to complete silence. Every face in the facility stared at him. Commander's expression was unreadable. Instructor Al's forearms hung limp at his sides. Lisa pushed through the crowd and grabbed Sarm. "Are you okay?" "Fine," he looked at the control console. "So?" Commander cleared his throat. He looked at the readout, then back at the readout like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Results," said quietly. "Multiple sensors confirm. Neural response time averaging 44 to 48 milliseconds over the course of the entire test. Peak performance at 41 milliseconds. He paused. "These results are accurate. The equipment is functioning perfectly. This is genuine human performance." The gallery above erupted into chaos. Shouting, arguments, disbelief. "Impossible. No species scores below 100. The human must have cybernetic enhancements. Check him for implants." Commander raised his hand. The noise died down, but the tension remained thick in the air. He gestured to Cadet Martinez. "Are you wearing or implanted with any technological enhancements? Any neural augmentation, reflex boosters, genetic modifications?" "No, sir, standard human, nothing added." "You'll submit to a full medical scan to verify this." "Yes, sir." An hour later, the medical results came back. No enhancements, no modifications, no implants. Martinez was exactly what he appeared to be, a baseline human with good training. That somehow made it worse. Instructor Al called an emergency meeting in a secure conference room. Present were Commander, Lisa, the third human cadet Danny Shaw, and several senior academy officials. The mood was tense. "I need an explanation," Al said, his forearms crossed tightly. "I have trained warriors for 200 years. I have tested cadets from every member species of the Galactic Council. I have never seen performance like this from an unmodified biological being. What exactly is Earth?" And Lisa exchanged glances. Danny Shaw, a quiet kid from somewhere on Earth's east coast, spoke up first. "With respect, sir, what does your database say about Earth?" An official pulled up the file on a holographic display. "Classification: high gravity 1.4 times galactic standard, excessive tectonic activity, extreme weather patterns, abundant aggressive fauna. Recommendation: approach with caution." "That's the tourist version," Lisa said. "The reality is worse." Commander nodded slowly. "I think it's time we explained what that classification actually means." Over the next hour, the humans laid out the truth about Earth, not the sanitized version in the database, the real version. They showed videos of Earth's predators, lions taking down prey, grizzly bears fighting, great white sharks breaching, crocodiles exploding from the water. The alien officials watched with growing horror. "These creatures exist on your world?" one of them asked. "In the wild?" "Everywhere," said. "Land, sea, air, Earth is full of things that want to kill you, and humans aren't the strongest or the fastest. We're not the biggest. We survived by being smart and persistent and adaptable." "Show them the rest," Commander said quietly. Lisa pulled up more videos. Human athletes competing. Boxers moving at speeds that made the aliens lean forward. Mixed martial arts fighters demonstrating reaction times that shouldn't be possible. Football players hitting each other with force that would break most species' bones. "This is your entertainment?" an official asked in disbelief. "This is our sports," Danny said. "Just games we play." "Games," Al repeated. The word sounded foreign in his mouth. Stood and walked to the holographic display. He pulled up an image of Earth rotating slowly in space. "You want to know why I'm fast? Because on Earth, fast means alive. We evolved running down prey for hours until it collapsed from exhaustion. We hunted in packs. We threw spears at dangerous animals and hoped we were quick enough to dodge when they charged. Every human alive today comes from ancestors who survived millions of years on a planet trying to kill them." He pointed to his own chest. "This body, it's built for a world with higher gravity than most species can handle. My muscles are denser, my bones are stronger. My cardiovascular system can push oxygen to my muscles faster than most aliens can process. And my reflexes," he smiled slightly. "My reflexes are average for a trained human athlete." Silence filled the room. "Average," Al finally said. "I grew up boxing. My father trained me, but I'm not special. Every human military recruit goes through similar training. We have athletes who are faster, soldiers with better reflexes, people who have trained their whole lives for combat sports." Commander pulled up another file. "I've been reviewing performance reports for human personnel already serving in the galactic military. Before today, I thought they were exaggerations. Now I realize they're not. Our average soldiers are performing at levels you reserve for elite special forces." One of the Academy officials leaned forward. "If Cadet Martinez represents average human military capability, what are your special forces like?" Glanced at Commander, the older officer's expression darkened. "Our special forces," said quietly. "They're the ones who volunteer for the most dangerous missions, the ones who train until their bodies can't train anymore, then train some more. They operate in conditions that would kill most of your species in minutes." He paused. "If represents average, then our special forces are something you pray you never have to fight against." Another long silence. Instructor Al stood and walked to the window. He stared out at the stars for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, softer, almost respectful. "I have trained thousands of warriors. I have seen strength in many forms, but this," he turned to face, "this is something new, not just your speed, your potential, what you could become with proper training." Met the instructor's gaze. "What do you want me to do with it?" "The same thing any warrior should do with their gifts. Serve, protect those who cannot protect themselves, make a difference in this galaxy." Al's forearms uncrossed. "I misjudged your species. We all did. We saw origin and thought it meant survival instinct. We didn't realize it meant you were born predators." "We're not predators," Lisa said firmly. "We're people, same as everyone else here. We just come from a harder place." "Perhaps," Al looked at each of the humans in turn. "But you must understand what this means. The galaxy thought it knew humanity's place. Newcomers, survivors, maybe decent soldiers given time. Now we learn you're naturally superior in combat capability to most species. That changes things." "It doesn't change why we're here," said. "We didn't come to the Academy to prove we're better than anyone. We came to learn, to serve, to be part of something bigger than ourselves." Commander smiled slightly. "Well said, Cadet. But Instructor Al is right about one thing. The galaxy's perception of humanity is about to shift. What happened today will spread. Other academies will hear about it. Other species will start asking questions about Earth." "Let them ask," Danny said. "We've got nothing to hide." The next morning felt different. Walked through the Academy corridors and noticed how other cadets reacted to him. Some moved out of his way. Others stared with open curiosity. A few nodded with respect. No one dismissed him anymore. In the combat training hall, Instructor Al divided the class into sparring pairs. Found himself paired with. The big cracked his knuckles and grinned. "Finally get to see what you can do in real combat," said. "Not just machines and holograms." "Go easy on me," said with a slight smile. "You've got reach and strength advantage. And you're faster than anything I've ever seen. Sounds fair to me." They squared off on the training mat. Other cadets stopped their own sparring to watch. Even Instructor Al paused to observe. "Begin," Al said. Moved first. For someone built like a boulder, he was surprisingly quick. His rocky fist shot forward in a straight punch, slipped to the side, letting it pass by his head. He countered with a quick jab to his ribs. His knuckles hit stone-like skin and stung. The spun and swept low, jumped over the sweep and used shoulder to vault behind him. He tapped the back of the alien's head lightly. Points scored. They reset. This time advanced first. He moved in close where long reach mattered less. Quick combinations. Jab, cross, hook, testing this defense, blocked most of it, but a few shots got through. Each time struck, he felt like he was punching a brick wall. Caught one of his punches and tried to use his strength advantage to pull the human off balance. Went with it, used the momentum to roll, came up behind his opponent again. Another tap, another point. "You're like fighting smoke," said, breathing hard. "Every time I think I have you, you're somewhere else." "You telegraph your moves," said. "Your shoulder dips before you punch, your weight shifts before you sweep. Fix that and I'd have a harder time." This expression changed, not anger at the criticism, interest. "Show me." Demonstrated, pointed out the small movements that gave away his intentions. They sparred again, slower this time, called out each tell as he saw it. By the end of the session was landing more hits. "You're teaching him," Instructor Al observed. "Why?" "Because we're on the same side," said simply. "Making him better makes all of us stronger." Over the following days, more cadets approached, not with suspicion anymore, with questions. They wanted to understand human combat techniques, why humans moved the way they did, how Earth training worked. Found himself becoming an unofficial instructor. He showed a group of cadets how human boxers use footwork to create angles. Demonstrated to a student how to read an opponent's eyes to predict their next move. Taught a class on reaction drills his father had used to train him. Lisa did the same with strategy and tactics. She had studied military history on Earth, knew human warfare inside and out. Danny helped with technical subjects, bringing a human perspective to alien technology. But the humans learned too. Myra's, the telepathic, taught how to quiet his mind before combat. "Your thoughts are loud," she explained. "All that thinking slows you down. Let your body move without conscious commands." Practiced her meditation techniques, found that it helped. His already fast reflexes sharpened further when he stopped overthinking. A flying species called to showed him how they used three-dimensional awareness in combat, how to track threats above and below, not just at ground level. Incorporated it into his training. Started looking up more, considering vertical angles. Shared strength-building exercises. "Humans may be fast, but you lack raw power," he said, couldn't argue. He added the exercises to his routine, felt himself getting stronger. The academy began to change, not just in how cadets viewed humans, in how they viewed each other. Species that had kept to their own groups started mixing, training together, learning from each other. Instructor Al watched it all with approval. One evening, he called to his office. "Sit," Al said, gesturing to a chair, his four arms folded thoughtfully. "You've started something here, intentionally or not. Do you understand what you've done?" "Trained with my classmates," said. "You've shown them that strength comes in many forms, that what makes one species different isn't weakness or superiority, it's just difference. They have power, they have mental gifts, humans have speed and adaptability." Al leaned forward. "But all of you together, you're stronger than any one species alone." "Thought about that? Is that what the Galactic Council is supposed to be?" "It's what it was meant to be, what it struggles to remember sometimes." The old instructor's eyes grew distant. "I've seen wars, Cadet. Conflicts between species who thought they were superior to others. Thousands died, millions, all because no one wanted to admit that differences don't mean hierarchy." "Earth has the same problem," admitted. "We fought wars over skin color, religion, which piece of land someone was born on. Took us a long time to figure out that we're all just people. And now you bring that lesson to the galaxy." Al stood and walked to his window. "The Council will resist it. Some species have benefited from the existing order. They won't want to see humans rise too quickly. There will be challenges ahead. We're not trying to rise above anyone. We just want to be equals." "I believe you, but others won't. They'll see human combat capability and fear it. They'll push back, test you, try to find weakness." He turned back to, "How will you respond?" Thought about his parents. His father teaching him that strength without control was just violence. His mother showing him that endurance meant more than raw speed. The years of training that emphasized discipline over aggression. "By being better than they expect," said finally. By proving that fast reflexes don't make us dangerous, that we can be strong and kind, capable and trustworthy. Al's stern expression softened slightly. Good answer, now prove it. The monthly combat evaluation arrived faster than expected. Unlike the reflex test, this was team-based. Mixed species groups competing in complex scenarios. Strategy, coordination, and individual skill all mattered. His team consisted of himself, Lisa, Myra's, and two other aliens he had gotten to know over the past weeks. A named who could fly. A tech specialist from a species called the named who could interface directly with computer systems. They faced off against other mixed teams in simulated combat zones, urban environments, wilderness, zero gravity. Each scenario tested different aspects of teamwork and capability. In the first scenario, speed let him scout ahead quickly, but it was Myra's telepathy that warned them of an ambush. Strength broke through a barricade while provided aerial reconnaissance. Lisa's tactical planning kept them coordinated, hacked defensive systems to give them access. They won, but only because everyone contributed. The second scenario was harder, zero-gravity combat. Reflexes meant nothing if he couldn't control his movement in 3 dimensions, but knew how to navigate weightlessness. He taught and the others how to use small thrusters effectively, how to orient themselves without a ground reference. This time they came in second, lost to a team that had more experience with zero-G environments, but they learned from it. By the final scenario, his team was working like a well-oiled machine. Each member knew their role, trusted each other's abilities. When pushed forward too aggressively, Lisa pulled him back with strategy. When wanted to smash through every obstacle, found clever technical solutions. When Myra's got overwhelmed by multiple mental contacts, the team covered for her. They won the final scenario, not because any one of them was superior, because together they covered each other's weaknesses and amplified each other's strengths. Commander presented awards to the top teams in the Academy auditorium. When he called his team to the stage, the applause was genuine. Cadets from every species cheered. This team, said, gesturing to the group, represents what the galactic military should be. Multiple species, different abilities, united purpose. They didn't win because one of them was the fastest or strongest, or they won because they worked together. After the ceremony, found instructor Al waiting for him outside. You did well, the old said. But I want you to understand something. You showed restraint today. You could have dominated those scenarios with pure speed. Instead, you let your teammates contribute. That was wisdom. I learned that from my mom, said. She used to say that the fastest runner doesn't always win the race. Sometimes the runner does, the one who knows when to sprint and when to pace themselves. Your mother sounds wise. She is. Al placed one of his 4 hands on his shoulder. The galaxy is watching Earth now, watching humans. What you do here matters, not just for you, for your entire species' future among the stars. Felt the weight of that responsibility, but he also felt ready for it. Then we'd better not mess it up, he said. That night sat in the common area with his team. They were reviewing the day's scenarios, analyzing what worked and what didn't. Demonstrated a move he wanted to try next time. Myra suggested a new communication protocol for better mental coordination. Lisa sketched out tactical approaches on a data pad. Watched them and felt something he hadn't expected, not pride in his own abilities, but satisfaction in being part of something larger. These aliens who had been strangers weeks ago were now friends, partners, people he would trust with his life. Hey, said, his wings folding as he settled on a perch. I've been meaning to ask, what made you want to join the Academy? You could have stayed on Earth, been some kind of champion fighter with those reflexes. Shrugged, Earth is great, but the galaxy is bigger, more important things to do than winning trophies. Like what? Like making sure the people who can't fight don't have to, like standing between danger and innocence, like proving that humans belong out here among the stars. He smiled. Plus, the Academy has way better training partners than anything back home. Laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. Careful human, compliments like that might go to my head. Too late, Lisa said. His head is already too big, it's made of stone, remember. The group laughed together. Human and alien, different species, same team. Above them, through the transparent dome of the station, stars stretched in every direction. An entire galaxy full of worlds and species and possibilities. and somewhere out there people needed protecting. Looked at his hands. Fast hands, trained hands, capable of breaking testing equipment and winning fights, but also capable of helping friends, teaching skills, building bridges between species. Maybe that was the real measure of strength, not how fast you could react, but what you chose to do with that ability. He stood and stretched. Come on, training hall is still open. We should practice that 0G Ma 3 months had passed since broke the reflex testing equipment. The academy felt different now, or maybe just saw it differently. The corridors that once felt alien and intimidating now felt like home. The faces that had stared with suspicion now greeted him with nods and smiles. He walked to the morning assembly with and found Lisa already there, deep in conversation with Myra's and several other cadets about some tactical theory. Danny was helping a student with weapons maintenance. Everywhere looked, he saw mixed groups. Species that used to keep separate now trained together. Commander took the stage for announcements. His presence always commanded attention. Today he looked particularly serious. Cadets began. You've all performed admirably this quarter. Evaluation scores are up across all metrics. More importantly, cooperation between species is at the highest level this academy has seen in decades. He paused. This is what the galactic military needs, what the council needs, unity through understanding. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled cadets. Today we begin a new training phase, continued. Advanced combat scenarios. You'll face situations designed to test not just your individual abilities but your capacity to work under extreme pressure, to make difficult decisions, to trust your teammates when everything is going wrong. Felt a thrill of anticipation. This was what he had come for, real training, real challenges. Teams will remain the same, said. You've built trust with your current groups. Now we'll see if that trust holds when things get hard. The first advanced scenario dropped team into a hostage situation. Simulated terrorists holding civilians in a building, multiple floors, unknown number of hostiles, innocent lives at stake. Standard approach, Lisa said, taking command. Can you access their security systems? The fingers flew over his portable interface. Getting there, they've got good encryption but nothing I can't break. Aerial reconnaissance, Lisa continued. Find us entry points and escape routes. Myra's, can you sense how many hostiles we're dealing with? The closed her eyes, her telepathic tendrils extending. 7 hostile minds, agitated, afraid, and 15 civilian minds, terrified. 7 against 6, said. I like those odds. It's not about odds, said. It's about getting the civilians out safely. We go in loud, hostiles might start shooting innocents. Lisa nodded. "'S right, we need precision. Once you're in their systems, can you cut their communications? Already done. Good, here's the plan. They executed with practiced coordination, found a rooftop access point, disabled security systems, and locked the terrorists into separate sections of the building. Myra's guided them toward civilian locations while tracking hostile positions telepathically. And went in first. Speed let him clear rooms before hostiles could react. Strength punched through obstacles. When they found civilians, Lisa and the others were right behind to evacuate them. The scenario ended with all civilians safe and all hostiles neutralized. 0 casualties. Instructor Al reviewed their performance afterward. Efficient, clean, no unnecessary risks, well done. He pulled up tactical footage. But I noticed something. Cadet Martinez, you held back. Nodded, civilians in close proximity. Going full speed risked collateral damage. You prioritized mission success over personal performance. Every time. Al's forearms crossed in approval. Good. Speed is useless if it endangers those you're meant to protect. Some lessons can't be taught. They must be learned through character. The scenarios grew harder. Environmental disasters, ship breaches in space, ambushes with overwhelming enemy forces, each one designed to push the teams to their limits. His team faced them all. Sometimes they won clean. Sometimes they barely scraped through. Once they failed completely when a scenario required technical expertise none of them possessed. They learned from that, added a new specialist to their training rotation. Other teams did the same. The entire academy evolved into a cooperative learning environment. Species shared knowledge freely. When a human team developed a new close-quarters combat technique, they taught it to everyone. When a group figured out an advanced weapons platform, they ran training sessions. The change spread beyond just the cadets. Instructors from different species backgrounds started working together, developing joint training programs that incorporated the best elements from multiple military traditions. Commander called it a renaissance. Instructor Al called it common sense that took too long to implement. Called it what the academy should have been from the start. One evening found himself alone in the training hall. He ran through combat drills his father had taught him. Basic combinations, nothing fancy, just good fundamental technique repeated until it became automatic. You still practice the basics. Turned to find Instructor Al watching from the doorway. My dad always said the basics win fights, replied. Everything fancy is just basics done fast. Al entered and picked up a training staff. Spar with me. Sir, that wasn't a request, Cadet. They squared off, had trained with many aliens over the past months, but never with Al. The old had 2 centuries of combat experience, 4 arms that moved independently, and clearly no intention of going easy. Al struck first. All 4 arms attacked in a coordinated pattern had never seen before. He defended barely, blocked 2 strikes, dodged a third, took a glancing blow from the 4th. They circled each other. You're fast, Al said, but I'm experienced. Can speed defeat experience? Let's find out. Pressed the attack, used his superior speed to force Al to defend. But the old instructor didn't just react. He predicted, positioned himself where strikes would be least effective, used all 4 arms to create defensive patterns that were almost impossible to penetrate. The spar intensified, adapted, stopped trying to outspeed Al's defense, started thinking 3 moves ahead, using feints and misdirection, making the think he would go left, then going right. It worked, sort of landed hits, but Al landed more. They separated, both breathing hard. Better, Al said. You stopped relying purely on speed, started thinking. Still lost, though. Combat isn't about winning or losing in training. It's about learning. Tell me what you learned. Thought about it? Speed is an advantage, but it's not the only advantage. You have reach, experience, and unpredictable attack patterns with 4 arms. I have speed and adaptability. In a real fight, neither of us would have a clean victory. We'd find a way to work together instead. Al set down his staff. That is the correct answer. Power, speed, strength, intelligence, all of these matter in combat, but the greatest weapon is wisdom, knowing when to fight, when to retreat, when to work with others. He gestured around the training hall. This is what you've taught this academy, perhaps without even realizing it. I just trained with people. You did more than that. You showed them that being the fastest doesn't make you superior, that helping others succeed matters more than personal glory. Al's expression softened. That is the mark of a true warrior, not the one who wins every fight, but the one who makes their whole team stronger. Felt the weight of those words. My parents would be proud to hear that. They should be proud. They raised a son who has fast hands and a good heart. That combination is rare. The final evaluation of the quarter arrived. Unlike previous tests, this one was academy-wide. All teams competing simultaneously in a massive simulation. An entire city under siege, multiple objectives. Civilian rescue, enemy neutralization, infrastructure protection. Coordination between dozens of teams required for success. His team took the eastern sector. Before the simulation began, Lisa called everyone together. This is big, she said. Bigger than anything we've faced. We can't do this alone. We'll need to coordinate with other teams. Trust that they'll handle their sectors while we handle ours. Agreed, said. Pride gets soldiers killed. Cooperation keeps them alive. Myra's tendrils shifted with concern. I'm reading a lot of nervous energy from other teams. They're afraid of failing. Then we show them they won't, said. We've got this, all of us together. The simulation began. Chaos erupted immediately. Enemy forces attacking from multiple angles. Civilians trapped in buildings. Infrastructure collapsing. Every team had more objectives than they could handle alone. His team moved fast, secured their primary objectives, then immediately looked for ways to help neighboring teams. Speed let him reach a team that was pinned down by enemy fire. Strength cleared rubble that blocked another team's path. Myra's coordinated telepathically with others across the city, creating a real-time intelligence network. The turning point came when 3 teams got trapped in a collapsed building with civilians. No way out. Enemy forces closing in. Total mission failure looking likely. Made a decision. Lisa, take command here. I'm going to help them. That's not our sector. It is now. He ran faster than he probably should have in a combat zone, but speed was what those trapped teams needed. He reached the collapsed building and assessed the situation. 3 teams, 40 civilians, surrounded. Called into the comm. I need structural analysis on this building. Can we make a new exit? This response came back immediately. North wall, 3rd floor, weakest point, but you'd need serious force to break through. Looked around, saw another team nearby with a heavy weapons specialist. This is Cadet Martinez. I need that demolition specialist at my position now. They arrived within minutes. Together they rigged the north wall. Controlled explosion. Clean exit created. The trapped teams poured out with civilians in tow. Enemy forces converged, but now the defenders had room to maneuver. What followed was a coordinated defense that involved 7 different teams. Species from across the galaxy working together. Humans providing speed and adaptability, providing strength and endurance, providing intelligence and coordination, providing aerial support, each species contributing their unique capabilities. They held the position, evacuated all civilians, pushed back the enemy forces, achieved their objectives. When the simulation ended, looked around at the mixed group of exhausted cadets. Alien faces, human faces, all of them dirt-covered, breathing hard and grinning with the satisfaction of success earned together. Commander's voice came over the academy-wide communication system. All teams report to the main auditorium. The gathered cadets filled the massive space. Hundreds of young beings from dozens of species stood on the stage with Instructor Al and other senior staff. Today you proved something, said. Not to us, to yourselves. You proved that the galactic military strength doesn't come from having the fastest soldiers or the strongest, it comes from having all of you working together, trusting each other, putting mission and teammates above personal glory. He gestured to the assembled cadets. Every species here has unique abilities. Humans are fast, are strong, are telepathic, have 4 arms and centuries of experience, can fly, interface with technology, and dozens of others each with their own gifts. Separately, you're good. Together, you're unstoppable. Applause filled the auditorium. Not polite ceremony applause, real appreciation and respect. Waited for silence. 3 months ago, a human cadet broke our testing equipment. Some saw it as a threat, evidence that humans were too dangerous, too different. He looked directly at. But that cadet didn't use his abilities to dominate. He used them to teach, to help, to build bridges between species, and in doing so, he reminded all of us what this academy is supposed to be about. More applause, louder this time. The Galactic Council needs warriors, continued. But more than that, it needs leaders, beings who understand that strength without wisdom is just violence, that power without compassion is just tyranny, that capability without character is just danger. He smiled. You are all becoming those leaders, and the galaxy will be better for it. After the ceremony, found himself surrounded by cadets wanting to talk. Share stories. Make plans for next quarter's training. Species he had never even spoken to before approached with respect and curiosity. Pushed through the crowd. Come on, we're all going to the common area, team celebration. All of us. Everyone from the eastern sector, 40 cadets, maybe more, apparently were having a party. The common area became packed with celebrating cadets. Someone brought earth music. Someone else brought drums. Played something that sounded like wind chimes but with bass. The different sounds mixed together into something chaotic but somehow beautiful. Found himself talking with a cadet he barely knew. Your reflex test, the cadet said. When you broke the machine, I thought it was impossible, trick of some kind. And now I think humans are terrifying, in a good way. The kind of allies you want when everything goes wrong. Lisa appeared with drinks. Stop bragging about breaking expensive equipment. I'm not bragging. You're smirking, that's basically bragging. Couldn't deny it. He was smirking, not because he was fast, but because of this. All of these different beings from across the galaxy choosing to spend their evening together, celebrating not individual achievement but shared success. Myra's approached, her telepathic tendrils glowing with something that might have been happiness. I can feel it. The connection between all of us. It's beautiful, like a web of trust and respect spanning the entire academy. That's what your people call it? Asked. A web. We call it unity. Humans would probably call it friendship. Both work. The party continued late into the station's night cycle. Eventually, cadets began drifting back to their dorms. Walked with his team, all of them tired but content. Next quarter is advanced weapons training, said. I'm actually looking forward to it. Because you get to blow things up, Danny asked. That's definitely part of it. They reached the dorm level and started splitting up toward different rooms, and headed to theirs. Inside, collapsed on his bed, still wearing most of his uniform. Hay said from his own bed, thanks. For what? For not being what I expected. When I first saw you, I thought humans would be soft, weak, easy to intimidate. This rocky features shifted into what might have been a smile. You're not soft, you're terrifying, but you're also a good person, good friend. That matters more than being fast. Looked at the ceiling, thought about the long journey from Earth to here, about breaking testing equipment and earning respect, about learning that being the fastest wasn't the same as being the best. You know what's funny? Said. I came here thinking I'd need to prove humans belong in the galaxy, prove we're good enough, strong enough, fast enough. He paused. But that's not what matters. What matters is proving we're worth trusting, that we'll stand with people when things get bad, that we care about more than just ourselves. And you proved that? We proved it, all of us together. Humans and aliens, every species here. Silence settled over the room. Comfortable silence between friends who didn't need to fill every moment with words. His thoughts drifted to his parents back on Earth. His father who taught him that fast hands meant nothing without a good heart. His mother who showed him that the real race wasn't about speed but endurance, about lasting, about keeping going when things got hard. They would be proud, not because he was fast, but because he used that speed for something that mattered. Outside the window, stars stretched across the darkness of space. An entire galaxy full of worlds and species and possibilities. And somewhere out there, people who needed protecting, dangers that needed facing, challenges that would require every species working together to overcome. The galaxy had measured humanity, found them fast, strong, capable, but the real measure hadn't been Reflexes. It had been his willingness to share what he had, to teach instead of dominate, to work with others instead of above them. That was the true strength of humanity, not how hard they could hit, not how fast they could move, but how fiercely they would stand beside their friends, how determinedly they would protect the innocent, how completely they would give themselves to something larger than themselves. Smiled in the darkness. 3 months ago, he had walked off a transport shuttle terrified and uncertain. Now he knew exactly where he belonged, right here, among the stars, standing with beings from across the galaxy who had become more than teammates. They had become family, and together they would face whatever the galaxy threw at them. Fast reflexes and strong bonds, human capabilities and alien wisdom, different species united by common purpose. The galactic military had measured every cadet's reflexes, had shattered their device and asked them to try again. But the real test had never been about speed. It had been about character, about showing that humans could be trusted with their gifts, that they would use their abilities not to dominate but to protect. And they had passed. Not just all of humanity, proven worthy not through conquest but through cooperation, not through superiority but through respect earned and freely given. The galaxy had watched and learned. Humans were fast, that was true. But more importantly, humans were good. And in the end, that mattered more than any reflex test could measure. One more time before next evaluation. Now groaned, it's late. Champions aren't made during business hours, said. My dad used to say that. Your father sounds exhausting, Myra said. But she stood up too, so did the others. They headed to the training hall together. Not because they had to, because they wanted to, because being good wasn't enough. They wanted to be better. And that made all the difference. No, agreed. We don't, but we do need to be smart about this. The 3 of you will continue training as normal. You'll work with your alien classmates. You'll prove that humans can be trusted, that we're not a threat. Just potential allies who happen to be terrifyingly effective in combat, Lisa added dryly. Exactly. He stepped into the advanced testing chamber. The door sealed with a solid thunk. The equipment hummed to life, a deeper sound than the previous machine. Commander's voice came through the speakers. This test will be more difficult than standard cadet evaluation. The military version includes combat scenarios that special forces face. Begin when ready. Took a breath, let it out, centered himself. Ready. The world exploded into violence. Begin, Al's voice came through speakers. The world exploded into motion.